Hello and welcome to the African American Theater Podcast, The Beat, Black Experiences in Art and Theater. My name is Sydney Edwards.
And I'm Talib Hardy.
And today we have with us one of my good friends, Bjorn DuPaty. Bjorn, hello and welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. It's such a pleasure. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, so Bjorn, I know you as an actor primarily. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and I just want you to tell me about your lane in theater. What do you do, and how would you describe yourself as an artist?
Wow, what a question. How would I describe myself as an artist? I would say these days I describe myself as, first of all, a Black male artist in theater and film and TV as well. I think I cover the spectrum of like acting in all mediums, but specifically in theater, I've been more lately focused on stories that center us as a collective, and just the importance of telling our own stories from our perspective for us, not to be like on FUBU, but like for us, by us.
Come on, WEB the boys, you know?
I know, right? There's just something about it. It's just something about like being able to express yourself authentically. And, I can go on and on about like colorblind casting. I actually have my own opinions about colorblind casting, but like lately it's just been like really pressing forward the many nuances of the Black experience, especially the Black male experience, because I don't feel that it's complete. So I would say I lend my voice, and that's where I found like the most fulfilling is when I get to take on roles and projects that really push that forward in however way. It could be something that doesn't necessarily put us in the best light, but if it's God's honest truth and pushes us forward, then I'm all for it.
Right on.
So, how did you get started, in this world of theater? We all got an origin story. I'd like to know yours.
Right on.
Oh, man. Like, I feel like when you say origin story, it could come the movie credits and be like, Bjorn, the origin story. So actually, I wasn't really into theater at all. So I didn't grow up doing this. No one in my family's an artist. Nobody does art in my family. They are workers. So I primarily, I would say my first foray into the arts was martial arts. I grew up doing karate. I was a second-degree black belt. I am a second-degree black belt in karate. And the reason why I say that's kind of like my beginning is because there was a lot of performative aspects of that art form, right? There's like kata and things of that nature where you're imagining, you are literally learning a sequence of movements, and you are imagining that you are fighting opponents with those movements, and you get judged by it, by how effective your stance and this and, believability. So it was like, it already had like the foundations of what, we would call acting, which is, belief in the imaginary circumstances. So when I kind of stumbled onto it in undergrad, actually, I was just in need of an outlet. I grew up doing athletics and things of that nature. I didn't have anything in my life that supplied that. I was a pre-med biology student at the time.
Oh, wow.
And also was about to be a father as well. My son, my son's mom was pregnant with him. I was 19 years old. Oh, wow. So it was just a time period in my life where I felt very, what's the word? I needed to say something, I needed to speak so badly because I was crumbling inside. And so I was just like, let me just take this. It was on a whim. I was like, let me just take this acting class because like it'll help me be more extroverted. I am a self-prescribed introverted person who learned to be extroverted. I was like, let me just take this, it'll be, can I curse on here? Because it's like, that's how I talk.
Do you think?
Anyway, let me just take this shit because it's like, that's my deal. I want to be better. And at the time I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. Biology was killing me. I hated it. And I ended up loving acting class to the point where it just kind of took off for me. Like immediately it was like the moth to the flame. Like everything made sense. Like the world was easy to understand. And I felt it was a safe place for me to express myself through the words of some other characters at that time. And so, immediately my teachers and peers recognized that like immediately, and they were like, they just kept inviting me back. They were just like, hey, we know you're not a major, but like, come do this show, come do this.
I'm such you in.
Yeah, and and also I'm taking roles from people who are majors. So I was like very grateful that. Because I still wasn't declared a major. At this point, I was like, this is my 4th year in undergrad.
Where'd you go to school?
Actually, I went to Bradley University in Peoria, Illinois.
Okay.
So I actually spent 6 years in undergrad. I could have graduated in 5, but, long story short, I didn't know there was like grad schools for this. So I was like, I would take classes instead of taking my major classes. I would take acting classes. And I would come up with some lie, be like to my parents, be like, yo, they don't have that many classes. These classes are conflicting, so I'm gonna have to stay a little bit longer. And they were like, all right, cool. But unbeknownst to them, that actually I was taking acting classes because I loved it so much. And then, a teacher of mine, her name's Ziva Barzell Canali, she was like, why don't you go to grad school? And I remember going, they got grad schools for this shit?
Yeah,
she was
I had no idea.
Yes!
I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't even a question in my mind about it. Like, it was like, what? Like, she was like, yeah, and you can, go somewhere where they pay for it. And I was like, word?
For real?
And she was like, yeah. You could do this thing called ERTAs and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, word? And so the whole process opened up from them. Sorry, this is like a long story long. But anyway,
this is the Bjorn story time.
But to shorten it up, I would say I immediately applied. I got into Rutgers. I got into a few schools, but Rutgers, I went and visited. And immediately I knew it was the place for me. Immediately I was like, oh, this is the type of actor I want to be. They're doing the type of work that I want. I get inspired by, which is just really honest, truthful work coming authentically from the person, right? I feel like, you have some people might get inspired by people and you'd be like, oh, they're such character actors where they completely transform. Yeah, I appreciate those actors too. But the ones that really moved me, where I can tell it was just so real for them, and that was the type of training that they were offering at the time. And I was like, I could see it. I was like, oh, I don't even know what this is about, but I'm moved by how real it is for each person. They're not acting up there, they're living up there. And I was like, that's the type of actor I wanted to be. And so I was extremely excited when they offered. I accepted. Yeah. And the rest is history.
Hey, what y'all need to know is Bjorn is a bad man on stage. Okay, I seen it.
I do what I could do when I can do it.
You said so. I really identify with you were talking about your karate. And so about how sometimes things that we do that are performative, right, lead us into the arts. And so I was a marching band kid.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's not acting, but what I realized is my core passion was for performance. Right. And that's how I connected the dots in college.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I am not doing college band. They crazy. What do you think particularly as a black male actor, Bjorn, what do you think some of the misconceptions about what you do is within our community or even within the theater community?
Okay, so this is interesting. So follow me on this.
Okay.
This might take a while. All right. So the interesting thing about this is like identity, and what is our true identity? Because the reason I say that is initially in this work, we always, black people in general, but so I'm only speaking from black male. I'm a black male, but black people in general had to cater to the white gaze, right? And those were the people that were the gatekeepers, right? And so they were the ones that are telling you whether you get hired or not, whether what you did was the truth, right? So if they are telling you what the truth is, and then finally you get to do it. And of course, like every black person, we're like, thank God they just came out with something with black people in it. We're going to go see it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but then unbeknownst to us, we model ourselves off of what we see.
Whew.
Right. So then it becomes like, well, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, is that the actual truth of us? Or is that a projected truth of us that we are now taking and making the truth?
Ooh.
Because that wasn't our truth to begin with, right? So it becomes like this thing, like, and I think we are like now we're in the process of letting a lot of that go, right? Like we see a lot of creators out here that are bringing our experience forward. But even still, I always go, there's something still about the essence of it because we're now building off of what came before. That still feels like it's just a slight bit tainted by these gatekeepers that are not us.
Yes.
Right. So like that's Jesus. I forgot the initial question, but like that's how I feel about like just like being a black performer and you know interested in the stories, telling those stories and because I feel like when we're able to be us, it's just powerful.
Yeah, we were talking about misconceptions. Yeah.
Oh, the misconceptions.
Yeah.
Yes. The misconception is that like what you see is actually what's real. Like, and I always bring this up because I was like, I grew up in a very bad neighborhood in Chicago, and so. You know, I always, you watch on TV and you see these like people who are portrayed as drug dealers or thugs or something like that, right? And they got caught in chains and all this stuff. And they talk a certain way and blah, blah, blah. And then I met the local drug dealer because my father was friends with him and he ran the block. I mean, it's and I say that and I know you're like laughing, but it's like, that's why I say it's like a different world, right? Because when I met him, he was actually a very well-dressed man. He didn't have any gaudy chains on or anything. And he looked at me. He said, "Young man, are you?" He spoke very clearly, articulate. He said, "Are you doing what your parents say?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I bet not see you out here in these streets with these other kids." And I was like, "You will not." He was like, "All right." And that was like literally the extent of the conversation. And I go. So I always went, so what the hell are they telling me on TV versus actually what I see? Because this is actually a very intelligent man. He dressed well, he spoke well, even though his occupation at that time was illegal. So it was just, it just bothered me, and I always question what are we really seeing?
I feel you.
So. In terms of what we're seeing, and as you've gone and you've been able to tell your stories, what have been some of your favorite projects that you've done that for, and why is that your favorite project?
Yeah.
So I have many projects. I have a few that's like stand out for me.
Yeah.
but for like different reasons.
Sure.
The first one that stands out, I did a play in grad school, if I'm able to count that.
Of course.
It was called Jesus Hopped the A Train by Stephen Alley Girgis. I played Lucius Jenkins. He was a serial killer in the play, and that was like the most freeing I could be on stage as a character, because what I recognized was like, and sometimes this is like beautiful when you're an artist, is that sometimes you just have these moments where your life aligns to the character's life that you're playing. And it's not that I'm not talking about like the literal of being a serial killer. Obviously, I ain't that. But like what I recognized with his character, because he was in prison at the time of the play, was that he got caught like 10 years ago, but he's on death row, and he found Jesus, and he's telling people that he's changed, but nobody will allow him to change. Like always daily reminded him, and he sought that as that was his like journey with Jesus, right, and God. And I felt a little bit similar in that time period of my life where I was like I'm growing, I'm evolving, but everybody keeps saying, Bjorn, you are this, you are that. And I'm like, I'm more than that. Like, and it was frustrating because, you know, people can judge you and behave around you a certain way based on their belief system. Yeah. And then like to fast forward, Pipeline always holds a special place in my heart.
That's where I met you. Yeah,
that's where you saw me. Only because like that's like, I mean, it's so layered, especially that character, that story. First of all, like this is probably a little bit more literal, is that I'm a black man with a black son. That's also what takes place in the play. Black man, black son. And just the fears around being a parent, like that are always ever present in this world. And at the time, you know, we're talking about, the Trayvon Martins and all the violence that were going on with black men during that time period, young black males, right? And the many conversations I had to have with my son during those time periods. And I think at the time he was like 13 or 12, and he's big, like he's 6'7". So he's 6'7" now. He's 20 years old. He's 6'7". So yeah, he's very tall. So, but imagine at 13, he's my height, right? So like, and you know, that was always the misconception about like Trayvon Martin. Like they kept trying to call him a man just because he's a big kid. But he's a kid. Right? He's going to do what kids do because mentally he's a kid, even though you perceive him and he towers over you. He's not a man because he towers over you. He's a man, you know, that he hasn't grown there. Anyway, so it's like the fears of that, being that as a parent, and, you know, and it just reminded me of like being a parent. It reminded me of my parents. And it reminded me as us as black people, as far as like, you know, how we take pride in the fact that our parents were hard on us, meaning like we laugh about how they like gave us spankings or they beat us or however you describe your, you know, discipline growing up. But it was like, I recognized that was out of fear of survival. I wanted you to survive. I wanted you to make it home tonight. So I'm hard on you here because the world is hard on you. And I remember that. I remember as a child, my father sat me down. I think I was like 7 or 8. And he was like, you know, your life is going to be harder because you're going to grow into be a black man. And I was just like, I remember my first thought was, well, I don't want to be a black man. Not that I didn't want to be you know what I mean? Like, I didn't really have that concept yet, but it was just like, I just didn't want what he was talking about.
Of course.
Like, right. It was like, I don't want, like, why does it have to be harder for me? I don't want whatever the hell you're talking about. I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want that journey. Right. And so I just recognize that, like, and then also just like the pain of like loving, like, you know, we as Black men can learn a little bit more of how to communicate with more love and compassion to the people around us, and how we're just not trained or really learn those skills, and how we view love can be misconstrued. And Xavier in that play, he actually really does love his son. And the biggest thing that he's so confused about is that his son is saying, I need something different. Mm-hmm. And he's saying, I don't understand what the hell you mean. Because, like, if my father did this for me, I'd be golden. Mm. You're asking me to do some shit I don't do. Like, so what? Like, I don't get it. And just like the miscommunications of that. And I think Dominique spoke to that too. We recently did a reading of it. Oh. And she said the same thing. She was like, she wrote it off these men in her life. And she was like, if people would really know how this man felt about his son, or even his son knew, because when his son's not in the room, I see it, I hear it, but something happens within the miscommunication between the two where his son doesn't get to see and know how much his father loves him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, like that happens. And every time I do that play, because I've done it twice now, men of all different backgrounds come up to me and they either say, God, that's my relationship with my son, or that's my relationship with my father. And some have even said, I'm going home to call him right now. So I'm very, very proud of that one.
You know, it makes me think of so many things for sure. Oh my God. So my follow-up question to that is, I guess, what's it like balancing, you know, your artist life with your parent life? And does your artistry affect your parenting, right? Are you doing things differently because we understand empathy as actors? Yeah.
Well, I think it always looks different for everybody. Yeah. I ain't gonna sit here and preach like I'm the best father in the world. I do the best I can.
Does he like that you're an actor? Does he dig what you do?
Yeah. I mean, I obviously being an actor makes things a little different, and it's just unconventional, right? Like, that's how I've grown to, like, say it. Like, it's unconventional. Me and my son don't live together, but I'm present. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it just looks a hell of a lot different, you know? And actually, a lot of what I will say is that I'm grateful for the experience also because, like, my friends are now having kids, or they've been having kids, or starting to have kids. And there's always this fear about wanting to move your life forward, but you feel like you can't because you're an actor or you're an artist, right? Like, I have friends who are like, I want to have kids, but I'm an actor. And it's like, well, don't let that stop you from, like, doing, like, fulfilling your life, you know? It's just going to look different. It's not going to look with what you grew up with. And so you're going to have, you know, whether you have a partner or you don't, you're going to have to set up your life to, you're going to have to set up support structures in your life that supports the life that you live. But I will say this, and I find it to be true. As long as your child knows that you love them, the details will be okay, right? I grew up poor. Did I know we were poor? Hell no. I didn't know that until we started stealing cable and Nickelodeon was on, and I was like, look at these damn rich kids. What are they doing? Like, how come they get to go to camp?
Right.
I don't go to no damn camp.
What's that?
You know, what is all that? You know, it's only until, like, that, you know, but, you know, I will say that I'm grateful I have family, and, you know, it goes back to that old saying that it takes a village. I fully believe that. And it takes a village to do anything. It takes a village to do this work. Yes. Anything you do in this life, it takes a community. And so, you know, if there was ever any advice to lean on it in that, it's just like, don't do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Do not do it alone. It will suck. And, you know, so, you know, if you do have those people that can support you, accept it, be blessed by it, because it's worth it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, who are 3 people that you could say have helped or influenced you on your journey?
Mm-hmm.
3 people who have helped and influenced. Well, first I would say, I would say the person I mentioned earlier, Ziva Barzell Canale, because she was like my first teacher that made me, to help me know that this world and this path was possible. Like, I didn't even think it was possible. I genuinely didn't even think actors were actors. Like, it was a profession. I thought it was like some shit you just like lucked into. And it was like, and she was like, well, that's kind of true too. You know, like, people just like do a job and all of a sudden they're an actor. And I was like, yeah, no, like, nobody goes to school for this, or nobody goes and like pursues training in this. You just kind of like luck into it. And she was like, no, Bjorn, like, no. So I would say initially her. I would say another man, his name's Eric Ruffin. He's primarily a director. He's a black man. He's the one that like directed me a lot in grad school. Mm-hmm. And I think that was crucial because you needed sometimes you just need that person outside of you to go, that like looks at you and go be great, man. Like, go do it. And like, you feel that support. It's, you know, also because he's a black man.
Yeah.
It was really felt, you know, it was really like, oh, he was like, I got you, just go fly, man. Just like, I see you wanting to, you have my permission to go do it. And so sometimes you just kind of need that person to look over and be like, oh, it's okay. And they were like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be great. Yeah. And that was one. And then finally, a current collaborator who I've worked with practically like the last 3 or 4 years, Steve Broadnex III, who is just a phenomenal director, phenomenal leader, and just an overall just incredible person. He just kind of integrates it all for me. What it means to be a leader, what it means to like be a black man and balance masculine with femininity, that he can bring to a room compassion, love, empathy, and not to say that those are feminine, because that's ridiculous that it gets so binary that it becomes like, oh, these are feminine qualities and these are masculine qualities. But just like, what I want to say is that he balances it all. So he's fully human in this space. He leads from that. It's been such a great example. And then like just being able to work with him, the same. It's just like another person who looks across at you and say, I think you are great. I think you're amazing. I love to work with you. And we just gonna work together. And that's like incredible. I thought I didn't believe him at first. Like when he first asked, like he was like, hey, I just, you know, I got this project coming up. I want you to be in it. And I was like, you know, yeah, sure. You got a project. Yeah, you want me to be in it. Whatever, man. Like, yeah, I've heard that before. Sure. Yeah. It's like, no, man, I think you're great. I love working with you now. I want to work with you on so many things in the future. I got so many things coming up. I'm like, yeah, sure, man. Whatever you say. Like, yeah, all right. So, but after that lunch, it is true. It's like, that was like back in 2008, and coming in this spring when we do Hot Wing King down in Studio Theater, it would probably be our 6th project together in the span of 2018 to now, 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 2 things. One, tell Steve he needs to come do my podcast. Let him know.
Oh yeah, definitely. He loves, he loved to talk. So like, if you want to get connected, I can definitely put you in contact and
please,
because he loved to talk.
Please put us in contact. I really want to interview Steve. But speaking of Steve, I know that Steve just directed you in your Broadway debut. Yes.
Yes.
Thoughts for a Colored Man. Tell us about your Broadway debut, friend. Whoop whoop.
I know, man. I'm being all like modest and stuff,
right?
To now and stuff like all these other projects. Man, that was a special project because this journey has been a spiritual journey as well for me. So it was so much God present in that process. So I got hired as an understudy. And of course, initially my ego was a little inflated because I was just like, what? Understudy? Like, some of these dudes have never been on stage before that I'm actually understudying. And I kept thinking like, God, why this? Like, why? And there was, I will admit, sometimes I'm like, I want to be challenged in my work. Sometimes the work I take on can be a little too easy, so I get restless, and then I start nitpicking and looking over at somebody else's lawn, and it just happens.
Right.
But it was a very humbling experience for a different reason, because I learned so much outside of the realm of acting that carries you far in this work. Like, I just learned to be a supportive teammate, to like be the star in your own role. Like the little nuanced things that like you think, sometimes you can think it's all about you, and it ain't. It's all about the whole. And it was just a special time period because there was such a bond between all those, I say strictly men because that's what it was. It was like 9 black men as actors. There was a black male playwright, black male director. The white man was a stage manager, and we had some other people that sprinkled in there. But it was like primarily it was us in this room sharing. We made it a safe room for each other to share authentically with each other, like our fears, our insecurities, our strengths, our knowledge, our wisdom. Basically, what the play was. This play is called Thoughts of a Colored Man, and these are the thoughts of them. And so, like, part of the being in the room was actually expressing real thoughts, feelings, desires, wants, fears, all that stuff, because I think it went into the work. And then it was just I will say this, like Keenan Scott, who wrote it, he wrote something, and I was like, when I watched it, I was like, this is very simple. And I mean that in actually the best way, because what I really mean about that is that we're not necessarily asking the questions like why these men exist or why they behave the way they do. What it simply is that they are actually the real themselves on stage, and that in itself is revolutionary. That I can see myself authentically on stage and go, that's me. Or like, that's part of me, and that's part of me, and that's part of me. And I can't tell you, just like kind of mentioned before, is like just being able to see yourself like, oh, that's what really is going on for me. And all those ways, those nuanced ways, I'm not just one thing. I'm not just two things. Like, that's like the span of me, and to see audiences respond to that was incredible. So it was just like being a part of that, like just being a part of that whole experience. It was more than just Broadway. Actually, I didn't really care that it was Broadway, even though I was very happy about the goalposts, etc. Because I'll be honest, I actually really didn't. In my life scan, Broadway was not on it.
Right.
I'll be honest. Like, because, mostly Broadway is musicals and singing. I don't sing like that. You do. I don't. Yes, she can sing. Folks out there, Sydney can sing her ass off.
Fire.
We have done a rendition at karaoke of Fire and Desire.
We did that.
Rick James, Tina Marie, and she hits all the notes. All of the notes to the point where I had to put my mic down and be like, nope. Anyway, I digress. But just to see all the myriad of us as Black men on stage, and that was what was special. Mm-hmm. I learned so much off, and just the brotherhood that I took with me out when it ended abruptly.
Yeah,
it did end abruptly, which I was very hurt by. Yeah. But I just took so much from that, because some of these guys operate in different ways, and hell, there was a guy on in a show, and he was the youngest guy in our show. I actually learned so much from this young kid. I call him kid because he's damn near close to my son's age. Wow. But I learned so much just in his way of being, and and how he moves in the world. It was educational. And I guess that's what I was saying when I said it was so much God in the world, because it was literally like God was tapping me going, I'm putting you here to learn something that has nothing to do with acting, because that.
He'll do that to us, won't he?
Yeah. And this will help you for the next stage of your journey. This is going to help you. This is what I'm grooming. I'm grooming you for something, and this is the process. So be with this process, accept it. And I did, and I got so much out of it.
Oh
so,
cool.
Yeah.
All right, I got 2 more serious questions, and then we're going to do something else that's really fun, okay?
For sure. This has all been fun to me. So
it's all great. It's all great. Okay, so I'll combine these 2 thoughts. But okay, so what is something that you wish you knew when you were younger, right? Something that a piece of advice you would give your younger self, or what advice would you give to people who are pursuing a career like yours?
Okay. I got something.
Okay.
'Cause actually, I tell this to a lot of people. Whether you pursue this through the avenue of school or not, know that you are the source. You are the source. Nobody makes you what you are. The gift you have is already inside of you. The reason I bring that up is because a lot of people look outside of themselves for the validation to do what they are. That's what's already inside of them, right? Especially if you're going the school route. You go, if I go to Juilliard or whatever big ass school, they're going to make me. It's no, actually, they're going to give you some tools. They'll give you some tools to, shape and hone and, but the real magic is already in you.
Yes.
Believe that, trust that, because that's what is going to take you far, and that's what people respond to. Nobody gives a fuck about the tool that you learned at Juilliard. Everybody wants to know you and whatever it is that you have to share authentically from you. That's what is the human connection that we connect to. Nobody gives, and that goes for whatever you want to do. Don't get me wrong. Some of these classes and schools are necessary no matter what art form you're going into, because, we can hone our craft. But remember, it all starts with you. You are the source. You are the spark. Everything else is just icing on it. But you are the actual cake.
Ooh, you better preach about the cake. Okay, listen. Come on, cake preaching. Jesus.
Jesus.
Oh, you better. Come on.
I've been taking a little voice lesson here and there. Just a little bit.
So, is there anything we haven't asked you that you think people should know?
Yeah, I mean, sure. You are more than the art you do, so don't be afraid of that as well, right? So I know sometimes we can get stuck into these like one lanes where it's like, oh, this is what I do. Actually, you are capable of so much more. The pandemic really taught me that. You know, during the pandemic, I began to actually put acting aside just for a second. Since we were all technically on break, I actually went on break, and I became a life coach.
Right on.
So I have a life coaching practice, helping anyone who wants to evolve their lives into, you know, kind of like what I was just saying, like get unstuck from the pattern of your life, to expand, to evolve, to see what more is possible for yourself. That has led me into like leadership roles. So now I also coach and teach other people to be coaches through this program. Right. So it's like a year-long program. And I've been balancing that with acting. So, you know, just, you know, like know that there is more that you can do. Like God didn't put you here saying that you can only do one thing on this earth. Like you're so much capable. So like, so it's like this quote, like, and I hope I'm going to fucking bastardize. So, you know, we have this quote of like, jack of all trades is the master of none. None. Yeah. Right. But that quote is actually incomplete.
Yes.
Right. Like, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind when I heard what the complete quote was, because I'm and this is the part I'm going to bastardize.
I think I got you though. I got you. I think I can catch you if you don't got it.
Can you catch me?
Yeah. So I saw it on This Is Us. That's my show. And
so she probably saw the same TikTok video that I saw. So whoever the writer was scanning TikTok like I was. She probably saw, and I know it's like a few of the writers are women. Yeah. So like she probably saw the same, right? But anyway, go ahead. Feel me on this quote.
Okay, the first part is jack of all trades, master of none, but still better than a master of one. Yes. Yeah. It rhymes.
So the jack of all trades is the master of none, but oftentimes still better than the master of one. I think is the quote.
There you
go. I was like, holy shit. Like, ain't that some shit that actually stops you from being your full self, right? Because you get stuck in there and you think, oh, I got to master this one thing. Right. And it's like, actually, no. It's actually cool. It's still oftentimes better than the person that just mastered that one thing. So be the jack of all trades, man. If that's what's inside of you, go do that shit. Like do whatever, you know, have a full embrace life fully, you know, and I fully believe that. And it'll everything happens in its due time. So like have patience with yourself.
Yes.
And just like do the things you love.
Yeah.
Do the things you love.
Oh my God, I'm so glad we had you up here today. I'm inspired.
That will be $5.99. No, I'm kidding.
You got some goggles? Okay. You got some all right, so we love to wrap up our interview with some silly questions. We got like 5 ridiculous, silly, imaginative questions, okay? Sometimes they're imaginative. Yes. Sometimes they're controversial. All right.
Uh-oh.
Bjorn.
Yes.
Grits. Do you eat grits?
Do I eat grits?
That's not the question. That's a preliminary question to the actual question.
Oh, shit. Is this about to be a sugar versus
salt?
Yes.
Yes. We need to know.
All right. So I do eat grits when they are available. I don't like cook them all the time, but I do eat grits when they are available. Okay. And it is salt. Man, what the hell? It is salt.
I don't know what these sugar people are talking
on grits.
about.
That's for oatmeal and cream of wheat and things like that.
Exactly. Precisely. That's why you're in the club.
Yeah. Salt and pepper, baby. Salt and pepper. Salt, pepper, butter. Call it a day.
If animals could talk, which one would be the rudest?
Fucking cats, man. I do believe in them damn memes where the cats be like filing their nails and shit, because they just so fucking shady. And I don't like cats. I gotta be honest. I only like cats that like act like dogs. Like those cats, those are coolest. But yeah, I fuck like cats, man. They're just so damn shady.
I agree. Okay, so this is safe to say you'd be more of a dog person, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay, dogs or babies? Which one's cuter or better or more tolerable? I don't know. Dogs or babies?
Oh, come on. Dogs, obviously. Only like this is a bad question for me, because I would say, like, although I love my son, babies are a lot.
Babies
man.
are a dog.
And the cute factor probably ends after like a week and a half. And when they're crying at 3:00 in the morning, that cute shit goes out the window. I don't care how many pictures you show me of your cute ass baby, but if they keeping me up at night, that baby ain't cute. You know what I'm saying? It's like that person that you find attractive, and then you find out that they have some like negative quality about them, and all of a sudden they're not as attractive no more.
Yep.
That's how I feel about cute babies. Like after a while, you ain't that cute to me no more. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have to put you to work. You gotta be useful or something. I can't take this no more. So dogs. Yes, dogs are cuter.
Dogs are cuter. Okay.
What is the absolute worst name you could give your child?
You have a lot of kid questions today.
That's okay. I like kid crap. Anything that will have. This is going to be kind of vague, so it's not a definite. Any name that they are going to have to fight a motherfucker over as they grow up. Like, so any name that you give your child, you're just setting them up for failure. Like, and a lot of fighting and bullying. If you give them a name where you just like, people are just gonna like, you love the name, but come on, man. Objectively, they're gonna have to defend their life on these school grounds, these playgrounds with them names, man, unless they just a big kid. But you know, so just be mindful. Be mindful of
that kid.
You know what I'm saying? Same. Me too. I was like, I didn't appreciate my name until I got to college, man. It was a battle, man. Like, it was a battle in these streets.
All
you know what I'm saying?
Life, I had to fight.
All my life, I had to fight. But we gonna be all right.
I'll be all right. I'll be happy about my little androgynous ass name then. I guess I'll be satisfied.
You know what I'm saying? Like any one of those, and I can't think of a name, but you know when you hear it, when you go, ooh.
Yeah.
Damn,
man.
Yeah. Fuck you up, huh?
Yep.
Or even something silly like blanket. Like, come on, Michael. What the fuck wrong with you?
Somebody celebrity got a kid named Banjo. Somebody's got a Banjo. Yeah.
Or Kanye going naming his daughter North. What the fuck? What's wrong with you, man?
Come on,
man. Like North. So what we gonna call it? Northwest?
Yeah. Northwest.
Come on now.
It's a direction, y'all.
Yeah. You're like, no, we're going northwest. She goes, huh? No, not you. We're going northwest.
Okay, this is gonna be cause you to be creative, all right?
All right.
I don't have an answer for this myself. But if peanut butter wasn't called peanut butter, what would we call it?
Smooth and groovy.
Smooth and groovy. See, that was fast. He thought of that one.
So chunky peanut butter would be chunky, smooth, and groovy.
That's too much detail. I don't know. Shouldn't be no chunky.
I guess I don't think of the chunky one because I don't really eat the chunky one.
Who eats the chunky one? Who?
Huh?
Who eats the chunky one?
No, I don't eat chunky. I just know that it exists. It exists in the world.
I just don't like, the crunch. I don't like, why am I crunching on something? It's supposed to be smooth. So I'm definitely thinking of the non-chunky, and like smooth and groovy is mine. But yeah, I guess the crunchy, smooth and groovy.
Or rough and
it'll just
bumpy.
be another flavor.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. Are you watching anything fun on TV right now? I know we all kind of are coming out of pandemic land, but is there a show you're really into right now? Or a movie or whatever?
Well, there are a few mainstays. I watched Snowfall.
My sister keeps telling me to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, and I got friends on that show.
Oh, dope.
So I love supporting them. And also, it's just a great show. I really enjoy that show. I think their cast is excellent, and I like the story. Damn. Like, I always feel like this is a hard question to ask because, like, you know, shows are so cyclical.
Yeah.
So it's like now, because the shows are not in front of me, or I'm not watching them currently because they're probably off the air, I can't think of them.
Atlanta's back. You watch Atlanta?
Oh, I love Atlanta. All this new season is giving me so much life.
Yes!
Oh, I love Atlanta. I'm so mad it's the last season.
I thought they were giving us one more.
It is one more. They're going to have one more.
It is one more?
There'll be one more after this. It'll be 4.
Oh, thank Jesus.
They couldn't just come back from one season.
No.
That would have been so rude. That would have been so rude.
But yeah, Atlanta, definitely Atlanta. It's just so... What do they call it? They call it... Somebody dubbed it Afro-absurdism. And I was like, yes, that's... I mean, maybe Donald Glover probably would disagree with that, but I was like, that's what it feels to me. Because, you know, he has his own...
Yeah.
He lives in his own creative world. I don't know. I love a lot of stuff. So them two. I'm probably going to get back to that one on. Damn, it's on Hulu.
I watch all the Hulu. What's on Hulu? What you got?
My girl who's on Grey's Anatomy.
Oh what? Oh. On Grey's. I've seen all of Grey's Anatomy. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, well, she's being like. You know, she has that like weird relationship with the assassin killer lady, the white lady.
Sandra. It's Killing Eve.
Killing Eve. Yeah. So Killing Eve. And also another one by the creator of Killing Eve is Fleabag, which is on Amazon, I believe. Okay. I don't know. I like a lot of random. Yeah. Things. I have a mental Rolodex. Sex Lives of College Girls. I think
is that a good one? I was thinking about that one.
It's.
Should I do it? Don't do it.
Obviously, it's not I'm not their demographic, so you might enjoy it more. Well. But I kind of, like I said, I just like watching. I like watching things that sometimes have nothing to do with me. Yeah. As well, you know what I'm saying? Like, show me your world. Like, I don't have to be the center of attention, or or a man doesn't have to be, like, let me into some other worlds. I don't know what y'all watching. I'm getting back to This Is Us. I had to take a break. Yeah. It's too emotional. I can't be crying during the pandemic. Oh, yeah. I was already crying from just life stuff, so I can't be like.
If you get a chance, you have Apple Plus or know somebody with Apple Plus, do Ptolemy Gray, which is Sam Jackson and Dominic Fishback.
Oh yeah, Dominic Fishback. Oh, she's such a cool person. She came to Thoughts. We got to chop it up a little bit.
She looks short. She's short.
Huh?
She looks short. Is she a short lady?
Yeah, she is. but then again, everybody's kind of short compared to me. So I like if you're shorter than me, I'm like, oh yeah, you short.
I love her.
But she's powerhouse, man. She's such a powerhouse. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to work with her. And actually was gonna work with her. She was gonna do. We were doing this play in Pennsylvania at People's Light Theater, written by Dominique Morisseau, called MUDROW, and it was made for the community around there. And she was gonna be in the play, and then she got that movie with Jamie Foxx that's on Netflix with the powers and stuff.
I saw that one. It was cute. I liked it.
Yeah, that was cute. I liked it. I was like, oh, so that's what you did. You went off and made a whole bunch of money. You got to work opposite of Jamie Foxx.
Sure.
Instead of doing this play.
Choices.
That's so amazing.
Great.
Happy for you.
Oh my God.
She's
oh my God. I've really just enjoyed this so much. Thank you for being here. Don't hang up. I'm just going to wrap up the little podcast.
No, y'all good. Yeah.
But thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your light and your love and your wisdom with us today.
Oh, it was such my pleasure, man. Any time to, chalk it up and try to, speak to the next generation. Like, I don't know who this podcast will reach, but like hopefully somebody gets something out of it that they can take forward with themselves. And if we see you out in the streets, just say what's up. You know what I'm saying? That's right.
Oh, two more things. Is there a place there people can connect with you online? Do you want to drop your Instagram? Are you chilling on Instagram right now?
Yeah. Okay. So it's at the real _ Bjorn DuPaty because Bjorn got hacked back in.
Yeah, I was a victim of that. I was like, "Was that you, Bjorn? Is that you playing?"
Yeah, no, Bjorn got hacked with some cryptocurrency stuff, and so don't go to the old one. No, the real Bjorn DuPaty is where you can connect to me.
I reported the old one. I reported it.
Yeah. Instagram's so like shady. They won't even let me get control of it back. I keep trying to prove my identity. They just be denying me and stuff. But anyway.
Yes.
The real Bjorn DuPaty, you can find me there or on Facebook. And my website is down because I'm remodeling at the moment. But it's basically BjornDuPaty.com. Okay. And it should be up in a month.
Tell the people where you're gonna be this summer.
Oh, and yeah, this summer, working with friend and colleague Steve Broadnax again. We'll be doing Hot Wing King, a Pulitzer Prize winning play by Katori Hall, who also is the creator of P-Valley.
Which is amazing. They're coming back. That's my show. So,
amazing show. That's a good show, too. That's one of my shows is coming back in the June, July, something around there. And then, we'll be doing her play at Studio Theater in D.C. I think we start rehearsals May 24th, 25th, somewhere around then. It goes all the way to July 31st. And if it's a success and they want to extend it, which I think they are, we'll be there in Chocolate City until August 15th. So
I love it.
Come check us out if you can.
Excellent. Yes. Well, thank you again. Everybody, this has been The Beat, Black Experiences in Art and Theater. Thank you so much.